Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to our Science of Mind podcast. And this very special podcast is about learning from the master coaches, the mentors, and the guides who have been truly transformational in the journey of learning about mind. And today, with us, we have a very special guest. He has been a personal mentor to me as well. And I believe that, he's one thought leader who has trained thousands and thousands of trainers in India. So, we are very privileged to have him on our show. We have Mr. Sukhdeepak Malvai, and he is a transformational coach who has 35 years of experience, has trained in more than 17 plus countries and 150 organizations. More than that, he has 5,000 events to his name, and he has some amazing training products that he has created. In fact, he was the pioneer to bring landmark education in India. And he's one person, his personal philosophy is that he believes in productivity and well-being. They go hand in hand together. And he's a lifelong learner who practices what he preaches, and absolutely phenomenal takeaways are expected on this podcast, this very special podcast. So once again, on the behalf of the Science of Mind community, a very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. And I look forward to doing what I can to make a difference in your life and the lives of all those people who are watching us today.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Sir, as we are a community of learners and we invite our guests and we want to learn from them that how they have progressed in their journey and how they have learned some of the great insights and takeaways. So to start with, can you share with us that what was your journey and how did you pick up these insights along the journey?
Well, I started my corporate career back in 1974, right? And after a brief stint I was one of the pioneers, I would say, in computers in India when nobody had heard of it. But there was no scope at that time, so I decided to shift to sales and spent about 13 years with a German multinational company. And at that time, I can tell you, I was a very shy person. I would call myself a shy sales manager. Okay. But what I had to my credit was my love for reading. So I read more than, I think, 1,500 books by that age of 27. And most of them were philosophy, psychology, self-growth, you name it, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends, Influence People, and, getting rich, blah, 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 whatever was available. I am okay, you're okay. Whatever I would lay my hands on, basically, because at that time I'm a very ambitious person, always has been. So to stay ahead of people, my thought was I should know more than people. And at some point, I happened to attend a course which was conducted by EST. That was the name of the organization, which later on became Landmark Education. And that was a truly transformational experience for me, especially because it turned me inside out. Okay. A pessimist became an optimist. An introvert became an extrovert. A person who would never speak in front of 4 people would start speaking in front of hundreds of people without any, And I remember at that time, there was one particular quotation of George Bernard Shaw, which was read out in that training, which said that the true joy in life is being used for a purpose recognized as a mighty one. The being a force of nature rather than a selfish, feverish little clod of grievances and ailments, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making me happy. And I said, oh my God, मैं तो ऐसा ही हूँ. Always blaming somebody else for my problems, And thank God, despite all that, I was doing very well. But I did realize how much circumstances had played a part in my life. Right? But the long and short was that I discovered my vocation at the end of that program, and I decided that this is what I'm meant to do. See, till then, I thought that this learning is like our professors teaching in a college, And I thought it's one of the most boring things to do. I would never want to be a teacher of any kind. But when I did that training and I felt the impact on me, and there were 300 people over there who also felt that impact. I said, look, if this is what it can do, I would like to do this. And somewhere from inside, I got this calling. Believe me, that time when I resigned my job, my boss told me, you're mad. What are you going to do? My father, who was a colonel in the army, he said, you are mad. What are you going to do? Because nobody had heard of this. And I was truly fueled by passion. I went and started working with this landmark organization for 50% of whatever salary I was getting. I didn't even have a place to stay in Mumbai, but I just came and I just did it. So my passion was a realization that if we continue to live the way we are living, people operate from the level of scarcity, mera, 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 right? And they don't care about what's happening with others. The concept of, grabbing and competing rather than collaborating and working together does not exist really. We talk about it, but it doesn't exist. So I said, if this can make the world a better place, I would like to do that. And that's what I did in that organization for almost 12 years. Before I branched out and went on my own, and that's when my travels to many countries happened. In the meantime, I realized that there is a lot more to life than only this, the linear or kya bolte hai usko? Linear way of thinking.
Linear way of, yeah.
Normally, that's what we do, corporate people.
Exactly.
But there is, and I had got exposed to the quantum universe at that time. I'd read a lot of books on quantum theory and a lot of books about energetic healing. And also I explored that. I went into that. I realized the impact of spiritual quotient in our life. That if you improve your vibrations in life, right, if you increase your consciousness in life, how results become much, much easier. So I went into an advanced study of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, theta healing, you name it, whatever came my way. Then I did Access Consciousness, and I'm also Access Consciousness Facilitator.
Yes.
And like you said, I'm a constant learner, so I keep picking up something new.
In fact, you're also a Reiki Grandmaster.
Coaching certification. I was a Grandmaster or Bandmaster, whatever you may want to call it. I don't believe in labels, but I was one. And I've written some books on it also from my experiences. And now I'm offering programs for leadership teams. Right? I'm making a shift from just doing training to performance enhancement. So that's what I'm doing these days. And I continue with my Access Consciousness work, which is, I believe, a must for everybody to do. In today's world, when people are reeling under stress and people are committing suicide and God knows what, I'm bringing that element into it so that, produce result by all means. Reach your goals by all means. वो तो बहुत ज़रूरी है, right? But if you're going to do it at the cost of your health and your well-being and your happiness, then what's the point? Sorry, I think I've spoken too much.
So in fact, those are some really, really important insights, sir. And especially, when we look at the youth, the young professionals who are working, they are under immense stress. Okay? And what can be, some of the takeaways for them? Like in your story, it is quite inspirational that you were motivated by learning, converting that productivity and wellness going hand in hand. So what can inspire the young colleagues or the young professionals to kind of learn these things?
What can inspire them to learn these things is a desire to live a life of ease and joy and happiness. After all, what are you working for? My youngest son works for a law firm. He works 18 hours a day. Sunday, holiday, Diwali ho ya kuch ho, he's working. Okay? And he's stressed. So I see it in my family also. Right? But I told him, I said, look, whatever you may do, wherever you may go, you start your own business or do what you want. Stress is, bolte na, dukh to apna sathi hai. It's going to come with you. You have to learn how to deal with it. I mean, if you are having stress, your boss will have 10 times more stress than you do. Yeah, the only difference between a guy who makes it to the top and the guy who sort of fails on the way is that you have to have a desire to do whatever it takes to deal with whatever situation life is throwing. Pressure aata hai job ka, fine, learn to deal with it. So there are techniques to deal with it, very, very simple ones, some of them, which by the time we end, I maybe give you a small technique. But two things. One is when you get stressed out, how do you deal with it? Two is how do you get rid of stress creating behavior or a stress creating mindset. All right. Now, there are two kinds of people in this world. Okay. There are ones who have a fixed mindset, and there are those who have a growth mindset. Those who have a growth mindset, they always want to keep improving things in life. And one of the things that they would like to improve is what? Their mind and their mindset. The success mindset people have a growth mindset, and that includes learning how to cope with stress and not to, have a way of thinking which will add to stress. Now, you might have noticed that there are some people who get very stressed, and there are some people, same situation, they don't get stressed. So what's the difference? The difference is in their habits. Mental habits, physical habits, emotional habits, and energetic habits. So if you have a desire to grow, you cannot grow if you have a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset person believes that he cannot change. So many of them don't even try to change because they feel koi fayda nahi hai, kuch nahi hone wala. A fixed mindset person is an over perfectionist person. You understand? He wants to make sure nothing goes wrong. इतना perfect होना चाहिए, कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं होना चाहिए, तो वो करता ही नहीं है कुछ. What they lack is also resilience. Whenever they encounter a problem or a failure, puts them down. Whereas the growth mindset person, he is very resilient. If he falls down, he bounces up and gets into action immediately. Believe me, if I had not developed this habit in my life, there have been, obviously in a big life, I'm 72 years old now. My working experience is almost 40 years. Don't you think I would have faced failures and tragedies in my life? But I've always bounced back because I cultivated it. You are not born with it. Yeah? So we have to cultivate this and also learn certain simple practices. So let me give you one practice.
Surely.
This is a practice of thought. Okay, I keep telling people, listen to people when you are yourself speaking. Listen to people when they are speaking. And the most important thing is listen to yourself when you are not speaking. Because where the devil starts working on you is that when you are not speaking, you are still speaking. Na? So cultivate awareness to know what you are thinking. Your thinking is nothing but wo aap apne aap se, whatever you're saying to yourself. And the moment you catch yourself with a negative thought, ये जो binary thinking आपकी शुरू हो जाती है ना, I call it binary thinking or linear thinking. You replace it with positive thoughts or affirmations. It's a very good practice, but easier said than done. Because we don't live in a state of awareness. Na? That is the bimari. We are not very mindful and aware. We just, life goes like that. So let me tell you a little bit what people must be aware of is the moment they start judging themselves and others. We are a constantly judging machine.
Yeah.
अब क्या होता है? You judge a situation or a person. साथ के साथ क्या आती है? Resistance. That is causing the stress in our life. No, so you judge your boss and say कि यार ये मेरी, he's always after my, he hates me. He is never going to let me live in peace. Blah blah. Whatever your mind is saying. If you start saying that to yourself, you're automatically getting into a state of resistance. Pratirodh, isko kehte hain. And the moment you get into resistance, it's like, putting the handbrake of your car and trying to drive it. That resistance will burn out your brake pedal for sure. That's exactly what happens to us. Okay? So the moment you're mindful and you're saying, okay, that's this point of view, jo wo keh raha hai. It's up to me to accept it or not. Oh, but he's never going to let me live in peace. He's never satisfied with whatever I do. कुछ भी करते रहो तो रोते रहते हैं. कुछ करो तो और डबल काम दे देते हैं. ये वो. This is going on in the mind. So stop judging yourself and others. Now, a symptom. What do you know what people do? They are always binary. This is right, this is wrong. This is good, this is bad. That was better, this is not better. I like this, I don't like this. What's the problem with that kind of thinking? Simple. You're getting into resistance and stress, and what you are losing is losing sight of your objectives. At that time, and if you please start watching yourself, how much time you're wasting in this kind of thought and no action happening. And even if action is happening, it is with half the mind, because half your mind is going into that kind of thinking, right? So you lose sight of your objectives, you lose sight of possibilities. Let me give you a real example. Let us say you got a deadline, you're working on it, you're working very hard, and suddenly some problem happens. Okay? Something happens actually. You say problem. What does your mind do? Gets into the judgment mode and resistance mode. Oh shit, ye ho jayega now. If it doesn't complete, now I'm going to get it. Why do these people do like this? Why don't they keep the promise when they told me they should have? They should have informed me earlier. Blah blah blah. Shuru ho jata hai?
Exactly.
At that moment, instead of valuing in that shit, I mean, in that kind of a conversation, how about saying, okay, this is what has happened. What else is possible now? How can I work with these people to find a solution to this problem? Which one is more empowering? The first one where you're cursing yourself and others and resisting and getting upset and all that, or the other one is take a deep breath. This is a practice I advocate with all the people I'm coaching. Stress or no stress, after every 1 hour, take 5 very deep breaths. 5. Like this, Close your mouth, inhale. 5 times your mind cools down, and then after that take a minute or 2, maybe maximum 5 minutes, to really mindfully look at 50 different objects which surround you. Immediately your mind will start calming down. So when you're out of that, then you start listening to what your mind is saying. And you're all sensible guys, you'll say, bhai, negative, why is my mind saying this? Mind is nothing but who's saying what you're saying to yourself. So you say, hey, I'm not going to allow this shit to go in my head. I'm going to put an affirmation. Right? One affirmation, good one. There is always a way how to fix this problem. I'm going to find that way.
Lovely.
Right? This is not a mistake. This is an opportunity to do things differently. Another powerful affirmation is, okay, this is the situation I'm encountering. What can I learn from it so I can do it better next time? This is not a tragedy. This is another experience in life that I've got. Very good. And if you are fond of, and I would advocate very strongly to people, cultivate the art of being grateful to whatever is happening. Because I firmly believe that every experience is a gift that you're receiving, because that experience is a gift of life, Baba. You're alive because you're experiencing. No? So every experience is an opportunity to become a better version of yourself. This is a wonderful thing to say to yourself also. Oh, this is another experience. It's an opportunity for me to become a better version of myself. It drops your resistance immediately. Such a simple technique, Breathe in, breathe out 5 times, cool your brain, spend a minute or 2 looking at objects mindfully with full attention, okay? Cools you down, then start listening to what your mind is saying. And whatever kachada stuff your mind is saying, replace it with positive affirmations. And there are tons and tons of them available. Okay. If you want more, you can come to my YouTube channel and watch some of them there also.
Definitely. There's a whole treasure trove of these positive messages which are there on your YouTube channel. And especially, we are getting a lot of golden nuggets from you during this interview as well. And, we are certainly delighted to learn more. So, sir, you spoke about affirmation. You also spoke about cultivating awareness, listening. What can be one technique which the young professionals can take back? Uh, the breathing technique was wonderful, but what can be one that can help them kind of orient themselves better in this day-to-day stressful work? You can share one
And what do you mean
technique.
by orient themselves better means what?
Like, these days there's a lot of stress. The example that you gave of a boss who's building up a pressure. So recently, in social media as well, there were enough and many cases of young professionals getting stressed out.
And
So,
suicide.
yeah. So, what can be some of the techniques, or maybe one simple technique that they can do to, come out of that kind of a negative spiral?
I just gave you the entire technique. How to get out of the negative spiral. If people follow that, see, step number 1, 5 deep breaths. Step number 2, mindfully look at 50 different objects which are there in your room or around you. That will calm down your brain. Third, start listening to what your mind is saying.
Brilliant.
Whatever your mind is saying negative in nature, you replace it. Number 4, develop an attitude that whatever situation is coming to me, wonderful. Don't waste your time in judging it and saying right and wrong, good and bad. I don't like, this is better, that is better. Why is it happening to me? Replace it with positive affirmations. I'll give you one more technique. All right. Very useful one. I do it almost always. See, because of the situations, the mind reacts. When the mind reacts, there is a correlative sensation in the body. You've done NLP, right? So there are always sensations in the body, whether we are aware of it or not. Right? If you're worried, there'll be one corresponding sensation in your body. If you're angry, there'll be a corresponding sensation in your body. If you have a very strongly held belief, that will have a corresponding sensation in your body. Okay? So let us say that you're very upset about something. Upset, angry, sad, disappointed, or whatever it is you're going on. These are the things which are negative. Na? Sad, angry, upset, disappointed, discouraged. Yeah?
Exactly.
Now, when you're in that state, one very good technique is to close your eyes again and take 4 or 5 deep breaths and start observing the sensations in your body. Different people feel stress in different parts. Some people feel it in the pit of the stomach. Some people feel it in the shoulders. Some people feel it in their calf muscles or back or whatever it is. At that time, obviously, it's very uncomfortable sensation. Okay, you don't want to feel that sensation. That's why you're getting even more upset. So that time, when you close your eyes, you start experiencing that sensation. उसको पूरी तरह से अनुभव करें. Go deep into it. Don't try to suppress it. Don't try to push it out. All those who have been athletes in their life must have got a muscular cramp at some time. So when you get a cramp, if you fight with that cramp, it becomes worse. If you allow yourself to experience the pain for a bit, it disappears in a jiffy. Same way, whatever sensations you're feeling in the body, you allow yourself to feel that fully. And as you feel it fully, it will slowly start dissipating by itself. The trick is, don't try to suppress it. Don't try to eradicate it. You are feeling it fully. I have to keep telling people, imagine it's like a balloon and it's expanding. Allow that sensation to become more acute and more severe. No problem. You will not die. At the moment you let go and let it expand, you will start to experiencing the relief. If you want to take it one step further, imagine that it's a ball inside of you and gently push it out like that. And say, okay, bye-bye. And it just goes. This is guaranteed instant relief. So when I'm coaching people, and a lot of these are corporate clients who are stressed out, I make them do this exercise. And at the end of it, they immediately start feeling the reduction of the stress. See, stress never killed anybody. You know what our problem is? Our resistance to the stress makes it worse. No, because we keep saying, oh, why is this happening? It should not happen. Okay, so I think it's time for us to come and close the interview very soon. So one of the things I want to say to people is, look, as an individual, you and I have an infinite capacity to learn. Okay? So whatever it is that you're dealing with, whether it's in your mind or your body or your emotions or in your energies, you can always find someone, a coach or a mentor or a training program, and get that tool. So instead of wasting your time and grumbling and complaining that life is not working, life is not good, listen, you finish your IIT, IMM, college, whatever you did. Okay. It doesn't mean that you stopped learning. You know, software keeps getting updates. Have you noticed? Every 6 months or 1 year, even your phone keeps getting updates.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a new version of the software. Now, where are you and I getting our updates from? From learning, from going to a coach. Sometimes you need someone to hold your hand and to support you. What happens is we get stuck to a particular point of view. I have been very lucky in my first job, in my second job, and throughout my career, I found some very good mentors and guides. And then, of course, my desire to go and learn different things. Why? Because if you don't do that, you will get swallowed by this machine called life. And you don't want to do that. You know, the top 6 to 7% of the people in this world, they always engage themselves in learning. They read a lot of books, they attend a lot of seminars, they engage a coach. Okay? This is what I would recommend as a parting shot to each and every one of you. So you're most welcome to reach out to, Anupam. You can reach out to me. I'm also available. Okay. So anything else you'd like to ask me before we close, Anupam?
Sir, I think there was a treasure trove of techniques, treasure troves of learnings that you have shared. There were a lot of golden nuggets that we got from you today. But when there's this insatiable desire in our community to learn more and more. And I know that this short format of 25 to 30 minutes can be a delimiter, but we would like to invite you again. But before we close the session, before we close this wonderful podcast, what can be one final message that you would like to share with this community of learners who are self-driven and inspired to learn? They come up every Sunday to watch these videos. So what is one final parting message that you would like to give to our community?
Well, don't allow complacency and arrogance to take over. Okay? Because once that happens, you will stop learning. The fact that you're coming to watch this podcast shows that you are interested in learning. Okay. But my one, since I attend a lot of programs myself and I conduct them also, a lot of times, people come to the program to sit there and say, I know this. I know this. Don't do that. Okay. And don't waste your time. I mean, if you're going to attend a program or, a podcast or what, and you're just sitting there judging and say, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. You'll not get anything. So you need to stop this I know. Back in 1982, when my life got transformed, the first thing that hit me was, Sukhdeepak, you have been living in this I know all the time. And I gave it up because then I realized, damn it, what you know is only theory. What you know is only from the books. What you know is only second-hand knowledge. And another big realization came to me was, and I'll take another minute, Anupam, see, if life is a game, imagine you are playing football. Life is a game, right? There's action happening. Now you could be there in the playing field and saying, Acha, when the ball comes to me, I'll hit it. So a lot of people in life, they're waiting for the ball to come to them. Right? The achievers of this world, they take the ball and run. So just keep reminding yourself, am I waiting for the ball to come to me or am I going to take the ball and run? So take the ball and run, guys. A dream life, a life that you desire, is available to each and every one of us. We have just got to grab the ball and run. Okay. So thank you very much for the opportunity. God bless you.
Brilliant, sir. And if at all somebody would like to get coached or trained by sir, we have given the link of his website, his personal work. You'll find on that website itself. It was absolutely our pleasure, our privilege to again learn from sir again, and to get inspired again to on our journey of becoming a better version of ourselves. From the bottom of our hearts, sir, thank you so much for finding time for this podcast. We really value your insights, and we really value these learnings and these things. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. God bless. See you.